think you can tell from my latest video and scattered pieces of my channel's branding that I have a strong appreciation for Garfield the cat. But unlike other characters I obsess over, like Thomas the Tank Engine and Kermit the Frog, my obsession with Garfield didn't start until much later in my life. It was November 2021, and I had recently discovered the YouTube channel Quentin Reviews. My first video was a victorious one. I had gone through his past videos to find his Garfield saga. I watched this and developed a fascination with the character and bought the Garfield Complete Works Volume 1 book. Reading this, I fell in love with the character, and that resulted in the Day of Garfield videos and various others in 2021. By April, my obsession had died down, and while I still liked the character, I hadn't really engaged in Garfield media other than the holiday specials. But that changed in November 2023 when the trailer for the 2024 Garfield movie was uploaded to YouTube. This led to my obsession reawakening, and I consumed more Garfield media. A week before the film's release, I decided to watch the 1988 series Garfield Friends. I had the first 3 seasons separately or together on a 6-disc box set, and I watched the first 3 seasons of the show. I'd figured since I'm out of ideas, I would review what I saw, starting with Season 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, Garfield and Friends.
Season 1 of the show is the shortest and my favorite of the 3 I saw, because with every show, the first season is them getting used to the characters. But since this is an adaptation, it instead allows for the first season to be comprised of great original stories featuring these characters. Also, this was the only season I saw back in 2021, so quite a few stories I rated higher because of nostalgia, like Peace and Quiet, the first episode, Nutty Nightmares, also known as the writer's poorly disguised fetish, and Up a Tree, a simple story I couldn't help but love. This season also introduced me to U.S. Acres, another series by Jim Davis. I'm sure most people only know it from the show, seeing as it lasted longer than the strip, but it was enjoyable. No real U.S. Acres segment is perfect. I still think it's inferior to Garfield in both forms, but they're charming enough. It's very clear the whole purpose is to go the lesson because some of them aren't even subtle. What I can't excuse are the songs. They don't sound good. Like, none of the voice actors can sing for the life of them. They hate every single one. But as a whole, the season was good. 8 out of 10.
Friends are there
to help you get started, to give you a push on your way.
Friends are there.
Season 2 is more of the same, but slightly worse. I found having a 26-episode season, especially watching it the way I did, led to the segments sort of blending into each other. It started and ended good, but most of the episodes in between were so forgettable. There still were many I liked, such as Binky Gets Cancelled, Wise Camera Garfield, and especially Video Airlines. But this season also introduced me to my least favorite character of the entire series, Cactus Jake. Cactus Jake is a cowboy. He speaks with a very thick southern accent. Cactus Jake is annoying, and that would be fine if he appeared once in the whole season, but no. In seasons 2 and 3, Cactus Jake appears 6 times. And I watched everything so close together that the gap between these episodes was very small. Moving on to U.S. Acres, I found the segments to be more of the same, but unlike last season, there were segments this time I actually really liked. Fortune Cookie was good, and I absolutely adored Showstoppers, probably because it actually had a song that didn't sound like
I'm Booker, I'm Sheldon, and here's our hat and cane. We love to sing and dance for you, we love to entertain.
But this season, another problem emerged. My main issue is, since this is clearly the educational segment, they think is a substitute for the lesson sometimes to instead have the whole episode be a parody of a classic piece of pop culture. For example, Hogkillies. An episode I found average because it doesn't mean anything. It's not canon. Why should I care when nothing that happens will carry over to the rest of the series? And they gave it a sequel too! What the? 7 out of 10.
We're ready to party!
Season 3 is the midway point between Seasons 1 and 2. It's relatively short compared to Season 2, so it doesn't overstay its welcome like Season 1, but the episode quality is similar to that of Season 2. Good, a few highlights, but mostly okay. Many of my issues from Season 2 carry over to 3, like Cactus Jake is still present, the sadly non-canon segments from U.S. Acres start to bleed into the Garfield segments, and though these problems prevail, there were quite a few segments I enjoyed once again. Binky Gets Cancelled again worked well as a sequel, unlike Hogkillies, and One for World was so stupid that I couldn't help but love it. U.S. Acres also had its fair share of highlights. I love the meta episode Secrets of the Animated Cartoon, and the final segment of the season, Election Days, was great as well. But once again, most episodes were sort of fine, nothing special. I think the non-canon segments are too prominent this year, seeing as Garfield started doing them too, but the ones that are good are really good. I love some of the segments this year more than 2, but I still give it a 7 out of 10. Also, they changed the theme song, and I couldn't fit it in, but I still wanted to mention it. Overall, the segments I watched for this video were fine. Some were good, almost perfect even, but none were truly bad. a very consistent quality. I don't know why now only the first 3 seasons of the show are on DVD while 4 to 7 aren't, but I assume there's either a change in format or quality. So at some point, maybe later this year, maybe when the second Garfield movie comes out, if that's ever a thing, at some point I'll review the rest of the show, but seeing as it is now, I quite like it. When paired with the specials, are the ultimate representation of Garfield as a character. Long live 1980s style Garfield.
Friends are there.
To help you get started, to give you a push on your way.
Friends are there.
To turn you around, get your feet on the ground for a brand new day.
They'll pick you up when you're down.
Help you swallow your pride when something inside's got to break on through to the other side.